Hi everyone, it's Jeannie from Makers Unify, and today I'm going to show you 3 different projects using Dollar Tree's plastic garden fencing. The first project is going to be a candle holder or a candle box. Not too sure what you want to call this, maybe a lantern. So I'm going to go ahead and first thing I'm going to do is sand down this sign that I bought at the Dollar Tree last Christmas, as you can see, so that it's not, it has glitter on it, so it's raised, and I want to be able to paint everything, so I'm going to go ahead and sand all that down so I can paint it. So I went ahead and sanded that down over the garbage can. You didn't see that. But now I'm going to start cutting apart the garden fence. And they come in these, I guess, strips of 4, you would say. And I'm going to be honest, this is very difficult to cut. And I'm not sure what these are called that I'm using now. Maybe tin snips. I have used them to cut aluminum sheets before, and they work pretty good for that. So I figured, well, I'll try them with this. If you have any ideas, if you've done this project or something similar, if you could tell me in the comments below what you used to cut it, because I tried several different things. I tried, my crafting razor, and scissors, of course, won't work. So it was, I'll say, very difficult, and I did not get the straight lines that I wanted, but it worked. I made it work. So I'm going to kind of speed through this process so you don't have to watch me struggle with all this. So I finally got the 4 pieces cut, and now I'm going to go ahead and paint the sign. I am going to use, I think I said this earlier, I'm going to use the back side of the sign because it's more of the box shape that I'm looking for. But this is just a white acrylic craft paint, and I'm going to go ahead and put 2 coats on here and dry it in between coats with the hair dryer because you know me, I'm impatient. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and paint this up and going to speed up the process so you don't have to sit here and watch me paint all day. So now I'm going to go ahead and use the same color of white, and I'm going to go over the plastic fencing with 2 to 3 coats. It's okay that if a little bit of the black still shows through, or I miss a couple of spots, it's okay, because I'm going to go back over it with sandpaper and sand the raised areas and around the corners and things like that to make it look antiqued. So now I have the box painted and the sides painted from the plastic fencing. And I realized that my box is a little bit bigger than it probably should be. So I'm trying to figure out what I can do around the corners to make fill in that space. There's a little bit of a gap on the corners. So I have these wooden squared, I guess you call them dowel rods. And right now I'm measuring, trying to see how that's going to look. And then I'm going to cut them down and paint them white. So after I cut the rods, I'm going to go ahead and sand each end down so that it's nice and smooth. And then I go ahead and paint them all white. So I'm going to go ahead and sand down the edges and some of the raised areas to give this more of an antique rustic look. And of course, after I've sanded it down, I'm going to go ahead and wipe everything up so that there are no dust particles in it. So because the box and the dowel rods were not painted black underneath, I'm going to take this ink and just go over some spots again on the edges and the corners and various areas to age the box, and then I will do the same thing with the dowel rods. So now I'm going to go ahead and assemble the sides onto the box, and I'm going to use a hot glue gun. It has the Gorilla Glue stick in it. I wasn't sure if I needed the E6000, so I have that handy if I need it. So here I am trying to figure out how I'm going to put it all together, and I'll go ahead and like I said, use the hot glue gun. And on the back side, it's kind of like concaved, so you have to make sure that you get the hot glue in there pretty thick so that it sticks to the sides of the box. So here's the finished lantern, and I think it turned out really cute. Project, I'm going to make this design, it's not really a cross, I'm not sure what you would call it, almost looks kind of medieval. Sorry for my bad video skills here, but I'm going to keep this one black, and again, it was kind of a pain to cut this design out, so it took a little while for me to figure it out, but I eventually got it. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up this process. You'll see I'm just using my razor, my craft knife, whatever you want to call it. You know what? I just thought of this. I wonder if I heated the knife up when I cut. Oh, I should have tried that. I'll have to try that next time. So anyway, I'm going to cut this design out, and I'll see you on the other side. So now I have all my pieces cut out, and I'm going to lay it all out how I want it. So I'm kind of playing around with it for a little while, and it takes me a minute to get it. So I've kind of figured out what I want to do. So I'm going to go ahead and start gluing it together with the hot glue gun as I lay this out. So as I'm hot gluing this together, I'm realizing that it's not staying adhered very well. And then there's some spots where I cut it where it's kind of a little, not straight lines. So I'm taking another craft knife and trying to clean up some areas here. So what I end up doing, because it's not staying together very well with the hot glue, is I grab some of this leather string or little roping that I have, and I'm just going to try and wrap it around the two pieces in the different areas and tie it in the back. So I'll wrap it around about 3 or 4 times, 5 times, to give it a nice little roping design, and then I'll go ahead and tie it off in the back, and I'll put some hot glue behind it so that it sticks, stays pretty well. So I'm going to do this for all the areas that are touching, that need to be attached. And it actually turned out good because it's all uniform and it's black and it's neatly wrapped around there, so it kind of fits in with the design. So after I'm done wrapping the areas that are touching so that they stay together better, I find these beads that I had from a broken necklace. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the rest of them off of this necklace and place them on the design on the hanging, and see where I like them. And then I will use the hot glue to glue them on. So I placed the beads how I want them on the design, and then I'm going to go back and use the hot glue to glue the beads on. Some of them did fall off after I hung it on the wall, so then I can just add a little bit of hot glue and E6000 or just E6000 itself, so that it stays on better. So once I'm done putting all of the beads on, I'm going to go over it with this gold metallic highlighter paint finish stuff. I don't I don't have a better name for it. I don't have it in front of me right now, and I can't read the bottle right there. So I'm going to go over some highlighted areas, raised areas, to bring out some of the dimensions of this wall piece, whatever you want to call it. It almost looks medieval, doesn't it? It's kind of cool. So anyway, I'm going to go through and put the gold on through that and let it dry. Here's the finished wall hanging. I have to excuse the lighting. I did this at nighttime, and so it didn't come out as well as I wanted, but I think it turned out pretty cool. I have it hanging in my kitchen area right now. And like I said, one of the beads fell off. I just glue it right back on. So for the final project, I made this planter using a section of the plastic fencing as well as a little planter box that I got at the Dollar Tree. So by now I've figured out a way to sort of cut it, not necessarily straight, but I am a lot quicker with it now. And this part was easy because I just needed 2 pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and take this piece here and paint it the same color like I painted the other one, and then I will distress it a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and paint this, like I said, the same white that I used on the first project. I'll put on a couple of coats, and then I'm going to go ahead and distress it. So this is the planter box that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. I'm going to go ahead and paint this the same white color that I painted the fence. So now I have it all painted, and as you might have seen, the wording on it is raised. So I'm going to go ahead and take some antiquing wax, and I'm going to water it down a little bit and get a paper towel and just kind of dab it over the lettering to bring the words back out. And then once I'm done with the lettering, I am going to go over other areas that are raised, like the side and the top lip, and some other areas to bring out other highlights of this planter. I also decided to put some of this antiquing wax mixture on the little fencing part to make it look a little more coherent with the planter. It was too stark of a white, and I didn't really like how it looked. So I tried to hold this together just with hot glue, and it didn't work. So I'm going to take out my E6000, my shrinky dinky little tube that I got going on here that's like falling apart as they do. I have a brand new tube of E6000, but I accidentally picked up black. I thought it was clear. So pay attention to your packaging, kids. So now I'm going to hurry up while the E6000 is still there and kind of wet. I'm going to squeeze the old hot glue into the crevices here and press it into the planter. So it fits pretty snug in here, but it does pop out, so that's why it definitely needs some glue. So I'm trying to press it down here and keep it all together without it popping back out. Eventually I find some clamps and I clamp it down. So now I'm going to put some of this flower foam in so that I can put my lavender flowers in there. So I'm just kind of eyeballing what the size is, and this is you're not going to see this, so go ahead and fill this in and put the flowers in. So now that I have the flower foam in, I'm going to take my lavender plants that I had picked up last year. I'm not real certain where I got these, either Walmart or Dollar Tree, I'm not too sure. So I'm going to go ahead and cut them so that I can lay them out more, and I end up using my wire snippers because The other things weren't working, as you could see. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these up and arrange the flowers. So now I'm going to go ahead and take this moss. It's like a sticky moss. That's not the technical term. I'm really not sure what it's called, but it's kind of sticky. It's weird. So anyway, as I not so gently pull it out of the bag here, I'm going to use it to cover up the foam so you don't see the green of the foam. So I'm just going to tuck it in here and there in between the flowers and cover up that green foam. So again, here is the final product. I really like how this turned out too. It's really cute, and I'm ready for spring. So here are all 3 projects. They took me a little bit because of the cutting issue. So like I said, if you know of an easy way to cut this fencing, let me know. But I do like how they turned out, and they are add to my spring decor. So thanks for watching, and make sure to comment below and subscribe and like the video. Have a DIY day.